concludes this week's EQ video tip on likability. Hopefully these tips will help you out in terms of being more likable as you go forward in the world today. Thanks again for watching. Welcome back. We've got a great show on tap, and we're going to talk about the science behind making yourself more likable. And this comes to us from Vanessa Van Edwards, and she puts it in scienceofpeople.com. It's a great article, and let's talk about why we want people to like us. Think about this. The hardest words to say are typically, I love you, but before you even say I love you, you say, I like you. I want to hang out with you. I want to work with you, whatever that might be. And it takes a long time for us to get to that point, and we all dread wondering, hey, does my boss like me? Does my friend like me? It's easier when you're kids, right? Because as a kid, it's very easy to say, hey, I like you, you're my friend. As we get older, this becomes a little harder as we work through the working world, whether we're looking to date someone, whatever it might be. And why is likability so important? Well, there's an article in the Australian Journal of Psychology that talks about people are more likely to keep their jobs if they're likable than if they're actually doing their work or not, believe it or not. And another study by Talent Smart said that people who are highly likable typically outperform those people who are not. Well, if you're so likable that people want to hire you and they want you to do the work for them, how do we make ourselves more likable? Let's get into the few tips that Vanessa provides for us. Tip number 1, use signaling. And signaling is a really important thing because we do it all the day, whether it's our micro facial expressions, a little smile, or just saying and acknowledging, hey, I like you, or I like that. When we were younger, we talked about this. Someone would say, do you want to be my friend? We'd say yes, and of course that means they like us, or I like them. But it's important to realize that as we get older, we actually hide, and we're afraid to show these little signals that are out there. So what happens? You hide your feelings if you like someone. Then they hide their feelings back. And instead, no one knows if you really like them or not. And it creates this terrible loop where we're not sure of ourselves. We're unsure of what's going on. And that's why thousands of people, believe it or not, search on Google how to be likable and what likability is to them. What's important, though, is to figure out how to convey these signals. And even if they're little ones like that, it's important to say, I liked what you did, or I like your sweater, or I like your shirt, or I think that those jokes that you told were really funny. Little things like that and those signaling will help people understand that you actually want to be friends and be likable to them. So take a moment and make sure you're amplifying your signals to become more likable. Tip number 2, and this is a funny one. We like people who like us, so we need to like more people. And when you think about that, it seems pretty obvious, but it's a little counterintuitive if we don't actually put it into practice. So if we know someone likes us, then we are more apt to like them. Do little things to like more people, even if it means a couple times that people don't end up liking you. You need to make sure that you're doing your best to give that extra smile, or not afraid to say hello to someone when you walk into a meeting, or if there's someone new in a meeting, spend time to get to know them. Again, the more likable you are, the more likely it is that someone will like you back as well. So take a moment to like people as you go through this. Tip number 3, use the similarity effect of attraction. And what we mean by this is, if you're going to an office, everybody wears casual dress, wear casual dress. Make sure that you take an effort to understand how people are looking or talking or thinking similarly to you. At the same time, take time to understand people. So when you talk to someone and they start relating to you about their cat or their dog or their special sports team or the book that they read, finding common ground with other people endears them to you and gives you a chance to become more likable. Again, similarity attracts different people to one another. There's so many similarities that people have out there. Use the similarity attraction effect to ensure your likability. Our next tip. Speaking of similarities, highlight them out there. If you're in a new conversation with someone and they talk about how cilantro tastes like soap and it tastes like soap for you, talk about that. Or if someone's talking to you about a favorite episode of a TV show, say, hey, I like that, and try to add something to that conversation. Little things like that make a huge difference in gravitating people towards that similarity effect and making sure that they like you as well. The author even writes that she enjoys giving people a high five. So for example, someone says, I really love this sports team. She goes, okay, great, give me a high five. And again, little things like that make a huge difference. Or, hey, I like to eat pizza for breakfast. She goes, so do I, high five. Again, making that connection to enhance that similarity effect will increase your likability. Our last tip, be the real deal. And when we say that, while it's important to be liked and it's important to find those similarities, it's important to be sincere, and it's important to be transparent and have the capacity for understanding other people. People will see right through it if you're not your genuine self and really honest about what you care about and what you do. Being the real deal is an important piece of being likable. As you go through those different portions of trying to make friends or be more likable in life, make sure that you take a moment to give an honest reflection of yourself in a nice, candid way without offending other people at the same time. Hopefully this will help you out in terms of your likability. Welcome to the EQ video tip. I'm your host, Eric Forstetter. As always, we have an amazing show for you. So let's get into the goals of EQ video tip before we get to this week's tip. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.